Alright, and welcome everybody to a new video. Today we'll talk about round 4. So the big news that come out of here, at least from this week, is the Queen Amidala release, right? So this means, well, and that's also Master Qui-Gon. So those two characters are new. That, in addition to that, in week 2, usually people have a lot more datacrons than they have in week 1, so you can expect like a little bit extra reinforcement in regards to the new set. So let's dive right into this one. So in regards to my Queen Amidala, I went for an experimental comp. I'm not sure if this one is the best, but well, basically the best comp is always going to be Poby, Pow, whatever name people give to Padawan Obi-Wan, and Master Qui-Gon, right? That's going to be the best 3-man team that you should do. If you don't have those units, because the marquees are pretty new, then I think it's still a little bit experimental on teams that you can use against it to make it work. What I was told here is in regards to this Queen Amidala, because I got to talk to my opponent, shout out to Grex, is that he did take out Ahsoka and Mace by like attempt number 2. So like the team as a whole wasn't very cohesive, but you know, killing Queen Amidala is not an easy task because you also get the decoy, right? So like if you want to use something to instantly defeat her or whatever, it's still kind of difficult because getting contract or whatever can kind of suck because you're stuck hitting the decoy instead of Queen Amidala, who is the weakest target, etc. So it seems like there is some interesting stuff going on with that part. Also with the special Omicron, she will cooldown increase, maybe make the life of those nuke units a little bit more complicated. That being said, I found a cool counter to Queen Amidala that after a lot of tries I finally got one to work on the other account, that I'll show you in regards to that team. Alright, so you'll just have to trust that I attempted a lot of stuff until it eventually worked, so hopefully trust me on that one. Wait, actually I forgot to do this music thing correctly. Give me just a second so I can put this working well. Okay. All right, cool. Just so it's playlisting and working on. Anyway, in regards to this team, it seemed to work fine because you get Jedi Knight Cal Kestis to nuke Queen Amidala, and they don't really do enough damage to kill you. But this is a bit of a different lineup, right? This is not a Queen Amidala lead, this is a Padmé lead. But that being said, this team is so durable. I couldn't kill this with Malgus, I couldn't kill this with Bo-Katan of Mandalore, I couldn't kill this with like anything that wasn't a GL. I also didn't try Reva, but it's a very difficult team to play against, and this counter looks fine. Now I'll show you exactly how it goes, but basically the way this plays out is you just swap turns, whatever. Here I marked GMY, which I think was not a bad decision, to be honest, but this team is pretty much get your Cal to do his thing and support him, and you'll be okay. So that was really how this went. That being said, there's some other cool things that GMY offers to this team that you're gonna be like, well, do I like GMY here as a third if this counter works? Well, kinda, right? Because he also generates the protection up, so the Padmé level 9 can kind of kick in a little bit better on top of, you know, Padmé herself. So I think this team is probably stronger than the Ahsoka Mace variant I placed on defense. I really liked it until I found this counter, and I'm like, well, crap, but people have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis around. How am I gonna make this team work? So but other than that, I feel like this was quite the savior, to be honest. But I'll just show you the battle. So basically just swap your turns, right? 30 stacks, you get to ignore taunt to go after Queen Amidala. Boom, looking good. And well, yeah, those are parts of how things are gonna go. Unfortunately Jolie dies, but you know, you're still kind of okay. You have the 2 damage dealers pretty much all around here, and you let Cal Kestis do the work. Decoy don't have to worry about, right? It's basically just there with the taunt, but as you can see, these guys can kind of just ignore taunt and play as they want to. So yeah, then you kill Padmé and everything works out. This does look a lot simpler, but trust me, this team kills so many things, it's crazy. But yeah, all right, cool. So I guess I'll just show you. Boom. That does it. Boom. There you go. So yeah, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis with Jedi Knight Revan. Very cool counter. Like this a lot. Alright, now let's head to actual GAC, and here we have Leia going up against JMK Cat. Now, if you have General Kenobi, this pretty much works out the same way as if you have Wrecker. It doesn't really matter, so you don't have to be too worried about that. But how does this work? Well, Leia prevents the cooldown manipulation from, you know, everybody, right? It's like JMK can't reset Cat's cooldowns. So what does that mean? Well, you get your call to action, and you completely focus Cat. Leia will have an easy time against pretty much anything in this team that doesn't have Padmé, And when you have Padmé in this team, it's a bit weaker to Sith Eternal. So there's also that. Also, pro tip, because I saw this with the JC Insights, if you have the leadership Omni on Bo-Katan of Mandalore, you can use Bo-Katan against any JMK comp that doesn't have Padmé. So JMK Cat GK, JMK Cat Wrecker, whatever. Bo-Katan of Mandalore seems to do pretty well, especially, I mean, I guess a 2 Omni plus, probably a bit better. But as long as you have that leader Omni for the revive, I think that's on the leadership slot. It's so good. It's so good. The team just kind of wrecks with the current level 3 as well. So that's surprising, to be honest. And there you go. Cat dies. And that's the Leia counter, right? You kill the cat. You know how this GMK battles go. You just win all over this. All right. So again, looking at winner, Sith Marauder actually looks not that bad against this team compared to Darth Revan. Honestly, don't know how I feel about that, because my experience playing this battle is that your Malgus and your Malak spend a lot of the time in their ability block. At the same time, I guess they have less counters when Marauder eventually dies, but Marauder is also kind of difficult to kill because you have a bit of extra damage, turn meter manipulation that he gets, and whatever. So it's not all that bad, but like these ability blocks feel so rough to play at this opening part of the battle, because you want to go for Grand Inquisitor or you want to go for Seventh Sister, and without Darth Revan's unique, where he can dispel ability blocks and turn them into ferocity, it feels like it takes forever to get a kill on Grand Inquisitor or Seventh Sister. And that's pretty much what happens. Like you're waiting to have your window to kill the Grand Inquisitor, and eventually your Marauder dies or whatever, and you try to play it out. I think Malak also ends up dying in this one. But yeah, I'll just kind of just show you, you know, yeah, Marauder dies, whatever. Here you have to go through the Reva taunt, right? So get the shock, get the drain life, kill these guys, kill Seventh Sister. And there was also a lot of weird dodges here. I believe here I do this dodge, and I don't have blind, right? Oh, I have accuracy down. Wait, does that stay? No. I had a lot of weird dodges on my Malgus big hit. At least it happened another time afterwards. It was kind of weird. Anyway. Nothing really that increased the dodge chance, but Malgus will 1v1 Reva quite nicely, so you don't have to be too worried about that. So Marauder comp does work. This saves you a DR team that can be useful later on. I'll show you how I used it in just a second. All right, so we're fast forwarding just a little bit, and here I decided to show you how I use my Darth Revan. So Tuskens are a very common team to place on defense, and DR right now doesn't do that bad against it. So how does this work? Well, you fear these guys, you have AoEs, and you actually, everybody here has an ability to AoE, right? I mean, Basilisk Shenfallen's a little bit weirder than the other two, but it means that it's not that difficult to kill the Tuskens, and that's important. Here you need to manage them to get them into low HP, which is what we try to do here. Look at this, both of them are low HP, fear a bit to stall, AoE, boom, very nice. Darth Revan crushing Tuskens. Anyway, here I'll just go back to like our front wall, right? So like that was a bit of going forward. Maul versus Keller and Beck. I feel like a lot of the Keller and Beck teams are a bit weak to Maul, and otherwise they don't have that many counters. Depending on the lineups, maybe you can get Sidious to work against them. So that's something that you should probably look into. But yeah, otherwise, just send in Maul and see how much he crushes people, pretty much. The thing is, Maul is pretty good against other teams as well, so. Alright, so otherwise, you know, back to standard. I wish I had a better counter against Finn Zorii, but yeah, I just resorted to Lord Vader because it's easy, but keep in mind, Sidious will work against a lot of these teams, but usually the thing you have to look out for is the level 3. If they have the potency up, tenacity up, then Sidious doesn't work. If they don't, then Sidious will work against this team, so that's something to keep in mind. Otherwise, Finn Zorii is an absolute beast of a team and very difficult to play against. Then here, another safe counter to play, Bane versus Leia, so, you know, normal Bane stuff, right? Just AoE, do your specials, you kill them, they don't really threaten your Bane, and you don't really care. So it's like the most classical Bane battle you'd ever see. And then we opened the back wall, and oh my god, this back wall was good. You had Kylo, Jabba, Rey, Gas, and the Gas is really good here. I really like this positioning because it's like, oh yeah, you use your Maul against my Keller and Beck, and now your only counter to Gas is really like nothing, because you either use like Starkiller there, or you use like Sith Eternal there, or whatever, but or Maul, right? Like those seem like the only big options that you have against Gas. That one kind of sucked. It wasn't actually very difficult for me to handle that defense, but I'll show you how I did it. All right, so first of all, I see Ray, it's like CJ Starkiller, let's just do it, right? This team is just very good at clearing Ray right now. If it weren't for this team or Bane, I think Ray would be holding a whole lot more right now, but those teams are so... Bane and Malicos right now are just so overstated. They completely decimate Ray in all forms and variants. There's really not much that can be done about it. So, you know, assuming you have this team ready, you're killing any Ray variant you're seeing, and there's nothing really that you can do to stop it. Kill Cal, kill Ben, kill Ray, and you're chilling. Look at this damage, by the way. Boop, just one shot, 277k damage. Like, it's so overtuned. What is this? All right, and then we went for Reva versus Jabba. Now, Reva versus Jabba has like 28% win rate on .gg, but it worked for me two times last week, so I was pretty happy about that. And I was like, well, let's give it another try. Let's go for it again. And I feel like it comes down to having enough damage. It is kind of weird, and perhaps a bit dependent on the opposing Datacron you're going up against as well. Because some Datacrons will have some pretty good healing, and I'll show you that in just a second. But here it worked, and you can see that we have some pretty decent damage going on to Chrysanthemum. Then you kill Leia. We get stuck a bit on Chrysanthemum, but eventually do enough damage. And then it take a while to get through Jabba, but not that big of a deal. However, when I play this on my other account, the Datacron is slightly different. It has the set 14 2% healing whenever they resist a debuff. And you apply a lot of debuffs, right? You may think you don't, but you apply a lot of stacks of purge, right? That each help heal up the team. So each time those are resisted, they heal up a little bit. And it turns out that I kind of time out on Jabba on this account. So that was a bit crazy to me. So I'll just show you a little bit how this goes. Takes a while to get through Chrysanthemum and kill Leia. All good. I have to kill Chrysanthemum again. He actually heals up to full. This is why I recommend killing Chrysanthemum like right after he spawns, rather than letting him heal completely, and then you take forever to kill Chrysanthemum. And now, like here, we just legitimately time out on Jabba. I kind of left that on auto. We're talking about other things on stream. He was also 1 HP. I guess it's a bit unlucky. Here he just survives this at 1 HP. What happened with the AI? I mean, it is a bit unlucky that I didn't get the kill. He did also take 2 turns in a row there, and he couldn't like finish him off, and then he heals back to full. So take of that what you will. I guess a bit unlucky now that I look at this in hindsight, because I was like, oh wow, yeah, I just can kill the Jabba. It is a bit unlucky, but yeah, I mean, it is a solid counter. Just difficult to tell where the limit is at. All right, then I played JML versus the Slacker. Here I have a bit of an it's a bit unlucky, right? I didn't land the ability block on Kylo, and I think I should act accordingly. Since there's no Hux here, I believe that the correct decision to make is JML handwave on Kylo, and then your Jedi Revan should mark Kylo. Now when you mark, you don't really get the mark, but you get the cooldown increase. And the reason why you really need to do that is because boom, Kylo does an AoE, he does 305k damage to your Revan, and I don't think there's any modding that can cover 305k damage to him. It's just way too much damage, and like maybe if you control him with basics, it's a bit better, because now you'd have like Revan giving some extra coins and whatever, but it's so difficult. Kylo is such a machine, and I actually turned out that I can't really clear him. Like he just does way too much damage, and I can't even kill crew, because if I get close to killing crew, he gets damage immunity and spams it again. So like you need like a buff immunity, and when you get the buff immunity, then he gets cleansed by Kylo or whatever, because you're also getting killed by him at the same time. It's a very difficult team to play against, and honestly it's like you got to use Bane here as well, but I was like, you know, I'm just gonna use Bane on Leia. I don't have a much better alternative, plus I didn't know the back wall. Just tough. Very good team. Kylo right now on defense. Highly recommend you place this. All right, so against this Savage Lead Traya team, I kind of just match it with my own Traya. But this team, I don't know. I think this is trying too much to defend against Padmé, and you lose the Traya lead, which is so fantastic. But there's honestly like, well, I'd say it's a lack of data on Savage Lead to make this a bit better. So perhaps I should have looked into Traya Savage Talon, but if you look at directly Savage Talon Traya, there's like not that much going on for it, other than the Stray Mirror match, which you completely decimate. The way I play this, I nuked Traya first, because I think Karamikron is probably going to be the more threatening thing. I can't really see Savage do too much damage to my team, especially with the Isolate, right? It just blocks so much of his kit. And yeah, Stray Mirror match, pretty easy. All right, so versus GG STAP, we do a bit of a different counter than usual. So I was kind of curious to see how this would work. So when you play this battle, you just want to focus STAP and you want to kill it as soon as possible. And if you accomplish that, you're good. And I think it really comes down to this opener, whether you have the opportunity to get all of their turns in, like I did. Like I got my Scout and my Gideon to go there, right? So I believe if this happens, you're fine. Because once you kill STAP, you know, the team is a lot weaker and you're just chilling. So if that happens, DTMG looks pretty good here against Grievous. Then, you know, when the opportunity arises itself, usually by the form of Kit Fista DCs or whatever, Sidious can also solo quite a few Qui-Gon teams, so you should consider that. Level 3 has the tenacity up, but Sidious doesn't really care because here he has too much damage output. You do take a while to go through Qui-Gon, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, you just kill these guys anyway. As you can see here, it's the Sidious show. So against these weaker Padmé teams like Padmé, Ahsoka, Mace, for example, Aphra just destroys this completely. You cooldown increase Padmé. In this case, I was actually a little bit afraid of, you know, when I do torture with Padmé, I'm like, oh wow, I don't do any damage. Will my BT1 basic be good here? I'm like, well, just torture. If I'm ever going to use this damage well, it's now. So I do a basic, and it still nearly gets Padmé into a one-shot territory. And Aphra basic will take care of her, and from here the battle is pretty easy. So Aphra versus Padmé seems like a handy counter to have. And there's really not a lot more that you can do with Aphra. If you place Aphra on defense, it's griefing because Sidious solos that team, like 99% win rate. So yeah, just use Aphra on offense, and if you have the opportunity to use her, not bad. All right, maybe not a team you'll see that often, but this team has JTR, Rose, and Holdo with the, you know, the whole level 6 stuff. The way I opted to do this is let's get rid of the Holdo condition right away with the whole protection up. Like, if we get rid of all of our protection, we can start killing the sides, and we don't have to be too worried about Holdo stalling us out. And that was kind of the thought process there, and, you know, from there, the battle got pretty easy. So it's a nice counter to have if you know, the opportunity presents itself. And then here against Gas, I just did C solo, so not super interesting, right? You just link Gas, links 5s, you link Gas, links 5s. They go down, and then you kill 5, skill Rex, and you're chilling, right? So that's pretty much how this one goes down. You don't actually need to ult in this one. You can just keep healing, not ult, and you can get out of this one with full banners sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Depends on the data crowns they have. And then yeah, I ended up not doing a whole lot more gameplay on the other account in regards to the other JC, because I spent like 8 teams to figure out how to kill that Queen Amidala comp we talked about at the start of the video, which you can like and subscribe if it helps you out, and that, you know, helps out myself as well. So you know, there's that. In regards to this Bane team, you know, left to right, same thing. I just always say the same thing about Bane. Right now, it's a very unskilled guy that you use that kills things, and he's awesome. That's what he does. In regards to that, yeah, so hopefully there is some cool stuff going on here with the JC that we enjoyed, and if that's the case, I'll see you all on the next video. Take care, goodbye.